Peace, Knicks fans. Peace, Queen. Yo,
Peace.
Black is time. Welcome to Knicks and Bruises. What we doing today? We're gonna talk about the draft lottery. We're gonna talk about what we would do if we win the lottery, or we get that number one pick. What
Mhm.
what direction we're gonna go? We're gonna look at the top five players or projected, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, and we're gonna break them down, talk about their strengths, their weaknesses. I think we could do something like, let's say the Knicks draft this guy, and we'll make a case for it or against it. Because I don't think we would be mad. You know what I mean? At any one of these, at least top four projected guys, I think you can make a case for.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, let me go ahead and get these slides up, and we can start. And I'm gonna open up the chat in a bit too as well. Let you guys come in and get your opinions, give your opinions. I might have Nick's Cave, Jan Mitchell coming in anytime. But yeah, go ahead and get started. Got this the
Mhm.
percentages of us getting the first pick, 2% chance, second pick, 2.2% chance, third pick, 2.4% chance, fourth pick, 2.8, and then we got 11th pick, which where we're projected 77.6, and a 12.6% chance we could move back one. Let's
Is
hope
that the
all.
most we can move back? Is the
I
12?
I believe so. I believe
Okay.
so. But let's hope that bad luck, is over with, and there's no more, moving back for us. We've done that our fair share of times. I think every time, right? We've never
Mhm.
moved up.
I don't think so.
So yeah, get that going. We got the top five projected picks: Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Jaden Ivey, and who else I got there?
Keegan Murray. I'm familiar
Keegan
with the
Murray.
first four. I'm not familiar with Keegan Murray just
Yes.
yet. A lot of
I've
work
only
to do.
watched highlights, but I haven't really done a deep dive on him. And I do like what I've seen from him as well. Um, I do think he could fit a role as well, but with the one pick, I don't think any of us would go there. We could start off with Jabari. I know that's your guy. That's your number one pick if we got him. Um, I do like the fact that he is 18 years old, so that gives probably the biggest window of growth. We talk about potential and things. We really not expecting him to sniff a peak area into another four to 6 years. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing
Mhm.
with how good he is already. 6'10", 220 pounds. I got player comps from a range of different places just to give like a
Mhm.
variety. So I've heard anywhere from Kevin Durant, Rashard Lewis, Michael Porter Jr. Um, again, great comps, and I would say Rashard Lewis was on the low end. I tried to give that a high spectrum, a mid, and a low spectrum. So um, yeah, good comparisons. To say the best freshman shooter, limited in his offensive game as far as back to the basket. Um, but Quinn, you could give me some things that you really like about this guy. We talked a little bit about it, you know,
Yeah.
last couple of shows, cause
Yeah,
cause
I
that's
mean,
your guy.
I like him, but again, I haven't done I've done enough on the top 4, I think.
Hmm.
I think one of the things I like is that he's a high floor guy. Like even if he doesn't develop any more than he is right now, he could play defense and he could hit the 3, at a high level. And those guys are going to always, like Grimes, and he's a better shooter. He's a better shooter than Grimes. But those guys will always have a place in this league He can defend multiple positions. Now at the five, I'm not sure how long you could play him at the five against an Embiid, but how many players can you play? you know.
Or even how immediately, not, I'm looking at his
Hmm.
weight at 220.
Right.
Um, you know, I don't know if you. I don't think there's a lot of guys you would want to. It would have to be a real particular situation. I think starting out, you know what I mean. But
Hmm.
obviously, 18, he may still grow
Yeah.
in height
Hmm.
as well as his natural growth in weight.
Hmm.
Which will come in time.
Right. He has a good IQ as well. He understands the game. Um, I don't remember all the scouting report, but he's a good cutter as well. I think he has to get better at being able to create his own shot, off the dribble. Um, but that's next level for a 6'10" guy. So to be able to um, create separation if he's out on the wing, be able to handle the ball like KD handles the ball. That can come in time. But the turnaround jumper is there, the 3-point shot is there. I think he has to get better in the mid range. I think he has to get better finishing at the rim. I don't see him as a back to the basket type player. I just don't see him. I see him more a perimeter power forward. And so the ball handling would have to get better and be able to create. So he can shoot over people. And I think that's what he does. Reading some of it, like even if it's a contested shot, he'll pull up. Whereas if once you have your ball handling down, you could take a side dribble, you can escape and be able to get your shot off. But I'm sure that's something he's working on right now, Jabari.
I hear you. Shout out to the chat. Sherman is heavy in the comments. If you could jump in, because especially when we get to Keegan Murray, because he's the least familiar guy that I'm with. I'm still gotta do some research. So yeah, if you got some insight, I definitely like to hear it. Um, but moving on, and I agree with everything. My only concerns. Um, I think he can develop a post game, and I think he should. I don't know if I don't know if he necessarily will, and I wouldn't care if
Mhm,
he didn't for a year or two.
mhm,
As an 18-year old, you don't want him banging down low with
mhm,
excuse me, those heavy hitters. But he doesn't get to the free throw line often. Is one of the things I think I read um
mhm,
about him, and he shies away from contact. So um, I just I worry about his limitations as far as what he's able to do. But I do love the fact that what he does, he's at elite at, um, which is shooting. I think they grade him, I guess, yeah, best freshman. So I wouldn't be mad. Like I said, I think I wouldn't be mad at most of these guys. Moving on, we'll go to Chet Holmgren out of Gonzaga, freshman, 20-year-old freshman, 7 footer, 195. Player comps of Kristaps Porzingis, Pau Gasol, Rudy Gobert with perimeter skills are the three that I picked out. This is the guy that I would probably like the most, um, especially if we are moving on from Mitch. Even though, again, I don't think I would play him at the center position immediately. Um, not at his 195. I think that'll be another situational type thing. Upside I think is like through the roof. The Gobert with perimeter skills would be, to me, the absolute ceiling out of those three guys. But
mhm,
I wouldn't be mad at any one of the three. If he could reach the level of um this like I said, this is my guy. I don't know what your thoughts of him, how much you did the research. It's definitely a question mark. I think Jabari is definitely safer. Uh, but this would be like a swing for the fence. One of those risks that I was talking about. Um, yeah.
I don't know if he's. I mean, maybe he's risky in terms of his size and maybe potential injury history, but I like him. I like him. He's a skilled big. I also like the fact that even though he's thin, he's strong. We talked about this before.
Hmm.
He's like skinny strong. He's a tough guy. He's a skilled guy. At 7 feet, his ability to handle the rock, be able to um, shoot and block shots. Um, I wouldn't be mad if the Knicks, if the Knicks drafted him. I think it's just more about him putting on weight to be able to, because this is the thing. You could be a skilled basketball player, but if you're overpowered, you're not able to show that skill.
Yeah.
If you're just not physically up to speed, you're just not going to be able to show the skill that you have.
What I really like about him, and I should have put him in as a player comp. I don't know if I read this or if this is just me in my brain, but I wouldn't even I would be consider putting him at the three early in his career because of how skilled he is, at least offensively, but even defensively, I think he has that in him as well. But he'll be dealing with at least not bigger bodies in
Hmm.
that sense, and see if he could kind of play a role of Andre Karolinko or if you want to do a Tibbs reference, a Luol Deng, and play that type of role, um, where you're guarding threes primarily, and then maybe only playing those bigger guys on a switch situation, until you're ready to play center full time.
Right.
Um,
I mean, the only thing I'll say to that is his footwork is good for his position. His ball handling is good for his position. Is it good enough to play and be good at the three position? And is his footwork good enough to guard the threes? I mean, he does have a huge wingspan to help him make up for it, but that would be the concern. Like, can he defend that? Is his footwork, though good enough for that position and ball handling as well?
yeah, and then we'll get into that in a second, right after we talk about this next guy. But like you're saying, this, so, but you wouldn't put him at the five
I wouldn't
immediately,
put him
would
at
you?
the five. I see him as a power forward throughout
Like
his career.
forever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now if he puts on, you know, I don't know how much weight his frame is going to be able to withstand without him losing his quickness and his skill level. So not his skill level, but if you put on so much weight, you might have to play him at the five if he loses his mobility, depending on how much weight he puts on. Um,
I think 220 should be his pushing
now,
to 220 should be his goal, like come like before the season ends, his rookie season ends. But I'm looking at like a Garnett type guy. You know what I mean? Like potential 7 footer, maybe 6'11". But I don't think he was over like 235.
who is this again?
Kevin Garnett.
Okay.
So I don't think he'll put on more than 40 pounds in his career. You know what I
That's still
mean?
kind of thin for a 7 footer, no?
It is, but when you're talking about the wiry strong, I'm trying
Right.
to look at guys that work that you would consider that. Like I
Hmm.
don't know how much Durant weighs, but I wouldn't imagine he's more than 235 or close to that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that's the way I'm kind of looking at it. Like you said, anything more than that, then I think it starts to limit what he's able
To
to do.
do. Hmm.
his strengths. Um, but even that saying, hey, 40 pounds, that's a lot to put on. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna be throughout his career that he gets to that weight. You definitely don't want to do that
Right.
in a season or even in two.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So those are my concerns. I think 195. You think about this point guards out there that's 220. You know what I mean?
I think Brunson. What? How?
Yeah, he might be one of them. You know what I mean? Like I think that's why it's fresh in my mind. So that is a concern.
190
Oh, 190 for KD.
for Brunson.
Oh, for brother 190. All right. So
He
yeah,
got Brunson by 5 pounds.
5 pounds.
Wow.
You see what I mean? Like when you look at it like that.
I'll
But he
just
is
say
a guy that is considered strong. You know what I mean, or not weak.
KD it's 240.
So 240. See, so yeah, I think that would be a nice goal range for your career, and getting it like trying to get to close to maybe 215. You know what I mean? But before the end of the season, with your conditioning and your eating habits and blah 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 blah, I think he'll
Sometimes
be all
though,
right.
and Porzingis mentioned this, that he would bulk up for the season and just lose weight
Lose
during the
it
season. It
during the
was just
season.
really hard to hold on to it.
Yeah, but you think he has a similar body framing of Porzingis?
Mm, I don't know.
I'm gonna look into that. But again, it definitely is a riskier move than than Jabari. But
But listen, you can look at all of these guys and see them turning into stars and seeing them be a bust,
yeah,
you know,
so
because it's
I don't think Jabari would be a bust. That's the thing.
because of his floor.
I
He
think
has
his
a
floor is
three
too
and D,
high. Yep.
3 and D. Yeah,
And that's why I it's not like I don't like him. It's
right,
just you know what I mean. Like I wouldn't be mad if we got him.
right.
And again, we'll talk
He's
about this.
18 too.
Yeah, that like he has
Banchero.
a lot. He has a lot. Like when you was telling me, I started doing my research. So I like him a lot more.
And the
Um,
same with Banchero for me, because I saw that one game against North. I was like, this is the guy they talking about. He looked mad average, but I did my research and whatever. So I like him as well. I wouldn't be mad if the Knicks drafted him either. You know.
also a freshman, 19 years old,
Hmm.
6'10", 250. You
Hmm.
know, we talk about Chet and 250 out the gate and don't look big. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's all muscle, it's low body fat. You know what I mean? Like this guy is in shape. The player
Hmm.
comps I've seen out there, Julius Randle. I know you guys are not gonna like that comp, uh,
Hmm.
but I saw Jason Tatum and I seen Chris Webber. Um, I don't really see the Jason Tatum comparison, but I guess that would be the high. But not for nothing, Weber was no slouch. Especially a
No doubt.
pre injury Weber. So you know what I mean. I haven't witnessed the passing ability from him per se. Maybe I gotta watch and do more research, but I've seen a lot of buckets. I've seen a lot of buckets from a lot of different areas. Um, but he's probably the least likely that I would go after in this situation. Excuse me, 1 second. Yeah, but here's
Yeah.
the thing:
Hmm.
these three guys, coming out are projected power forwards, and again, I guess the question is: are all three of these guys? Do you think they're better than Obi immediately, like
Yes.
off the jump?
Well,
So
well, I think with Jabari and Obi, it's just two different skill sets at this point in at this point in their career. Obi is elite at finishing at the rim. Jabari Smith isn't. Obi is elite in transition. Jabari Smith isn't. Um, but Jabari is a better 3-point shooter, just shooter, period.
mhm,
and a better defender. So I guess, but I think Jabari Smith has more upside in my opinion, and he's only 18, so that gives him a longer window, as you mentioned, to reach his potential.
Yeah.
Um, Banchero on the offensive end, he's
I'm
just
surprised Melo wasn't up there as a
right,
comp.
right. On the offensive end, he's just in terms of the like you talked about the variety of things he can do play in the post, play in the mid range, create shots for himself, create shots for others, and his ball handling. That's what, and this is something I'm learning. I mean, y'all may not know that I'm still learning. I didn't come here with all of it. I'm learning from the panelists as well. How important. I mean, I guess I knew it, but it's been like kind of drummed into my head that ball handling is a swing skill for a lot of people, and that's the difference between them being average and being elite. That ball handling, being able to separate and being able to get your shot, and he can do that. He can do that.
Uh, basketball IQ. I feel you on that, and I think
I think both of them, Smith and Banchero, are good IQ players.
I think Chet might have the highest IQ
Chet as well. I forgot. Yeah, Chet
of
as
the three
well.
of them. Of the three of them, so interesting, interesting. Moving on. So you say no. Somebody in the chat, Bo Ismail says he thinks Obi's better than all of them right now. So I don't know if he's trolling or if he's serious. I the only thing that I would give Obi is the experience factor to where that could be a learning curve for any rookie. Every rookie doesn't get it out the gate. Even some of the more talented ones. Um, but yeah, I think Obi has something that none of these guys have. But as far as overall game of basketball, I think these guys are further along. Um, especially Smith
Skill wise.
with the defense and offense, skill wise, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Banchero, I mean, when you see him at 6'10", the way he handles the ball, like he's faced up with a defender left, right, through the legs, to create his own shot. That's for a 6'10" guy. So the
God
balance you
skills.
have to have, the dexterity you have to have, the footwork you have to have to be able to do that is impressive.
Yeah, and I didn't even read his his pros and cons. All around offensive package, freshman with vet savvy. And then questions about his defensive effort and versus his capability. Some question his defensive capability, others question his defensive effort in general. Say he has it in him, he
Right.
just doesn't give the effort all the time. Um, that is a little bit concerning, just coming from obviously Randall, coming from the mellow days. That was the same thing, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
Obi's not a stellar defender, you know what I mean? So
No.
that's why I keep leaning more and more towards Jabari. Like again, he's the safest pick for me.
Because
Plus
this is the
that
thing.
age and upside, like
Right.
he might grow an inch or two at 18. You know what I mean? So
Right. But this is the thing. With Jabari has to he doesn't have the ball handling and the creation and the separation that Bankero has. Um, but he's a two-way player. Bankero has the complete offensive package, including in the post. I mean, I do. I mean, he does the turnaround jumper. I mean, he's pretty strong, so I think he'll be fine. Including playing in the post because of his footwork. I think he can defend. I think his lateral quickness is more of an issue. So there's on the ball and off the ball. So on the ball, it's effort staying engaged. And even if he does that, some concerns about his lateral quickness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but off the ball, there's just concerns about his awareness. Yeah.
See, and again, I think he's the safest guy, to be honest. But I like Jabari more just because two way, like he might not ever be a superstar, but he's gonna be a solid starter. I mean, for long.
Mhm.
Banchero, he looks like he's gonna be a superstar. You know what I mean? But on the flip side, like he might be Harris. You know what I mean?
Harris is bad, but
He
I
might
see
he might
superstar potential in Jabari because
he
I'm like, this guy's shot is so smooth. If he gets his ball handling down and able to create separation, just like KD, once KD get the separation he needs, that shot goes up, it's in for the most part.
here's
So
what I'm saying though. I think Smith's floor is still a starter. You know what I mean? Like for sure.
right,
I think Paulo's floor is like six man. You know what I mean? Like six
you
man
don't see him.
candidate. He
You don't
he's
see
gonna
his
have
floor as a starter.
no
No,
because it depends on what he turns out. Like he can be like, but floor I think because I see him as a guy that might not play well with others in the
gotcha.
sense that if he's not the guy, can he come in and play a role? So
Right,
his role might have to be the guy, which means he might have to be the six man. So he could be the guy. You know what I mean?
right,
So he could be himself rather than
right,
like that. That's where I question. Where again, even if Jabari don't isn't a superstar or a star, he's gonna be able to fit wherever he goes, wherever the situation. You know what I mean? Whatever the team, like that. Like that's the difference. So I value that. So
right.
but yeah, he has potential to be a star as well.
Hmm.
But his floor is still starter. Where I think this guy he might end up as he's good enough to start if you're gonna give him the team. You know what I mean? But if
Right.
he has to play within the system or within the a team aspect, I don't know if that's gonna if he's gonna be great or if he's just gonna be good.
Yeah. I mean, C Mac, we just talked about that, about him his dribbling and him being able having to improve his ball handling so that he can create separation and create shots for himself. So I'm on it. I appreciate it. Um,
Oh,
I think
okay.
Banchero. I think the only way he wouldn't be a starter if he lands on a team where they just have concerns about his defense and they're just like, I don't care what you can do on the offensive end, you're such a liability on the defensive end. We just, I think you need to come off the bench. And sometimes you'll see that some guys who are, you know, very good one-way players coming off the bench because defensively they just can't cut it, or coming off the bench because defensively they're very good and offensively they just can't cut it.
No, I
His
mean
offensive package is, the question
it's
though
probably
is,
the best out of the three.
yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think the question is, and I would have to do more work. Do you? And if anybody in the chat wants to weigh in on this, I would appreciate it. Will he be able to create on the NBA level the way he created on the college level? Will his ball handling get him those same shots that he got on the college level? Will he be able to post up and do the turnaround jumper and get those same shots that he got on a college level? That's the thing. I'm not saying I'm worried about. I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
yeah, me neither. Even though I think his floors what it is, I think it's less likely. Like if I had to put the percentages out, it's definitely more towards star than not.
So you think he will be able to? I mean, his handle is really good.
I think he has to go to the right team though. Like you're saying, like a team that is willing to give him
Mhm.
like let him be the guy. I think that happens,
Mm-hmm.
sky's the limit. And then you know what I mean, work on the defense slowly. Don't
Mm-hmm.
punish him for it. Don't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if he's punished for the defense, or if he can't manage to be a role, fill a role as opposed to being the guy, like that might be a issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm just reading the chat. They really active. Can I read one?
absolutely, you
Yeah.
you know,
Um,
Quinn, you always got the right.
I know it's your show. I don't. It's me. Unless you're Shaq or Zion, I need a three-level playmaker, scorer, two-way potential from a wing in today's game with my first, second, or third pick. I mean, that's a good question.
So who
Like,
you got, my brother?
yeah, yeah. Who you got? Who you got? But that's
Please.
a good question. Like, do you want a more complete player whose game may need to develop, offensive game may need to develop in a Jabari, or somebody whose offensive game is pretty much developed, can always get better, and Banchero, but may have some defensive questions. That's
And do like, is there a problem? Like, I know you said I believe you said you can't do it, but I'm a firm believer. I don't care if it's the number one pick. If I'm taking a check and he's not ready, but I
mhm.
believe in who he is gonna be, I don't mind taking him, and you know what I mean, letting him develop. Not
I would
not
agree
not
with that.
not the way you guys be talking about development. I'm talking about let him get his reps in the G League. You know what I mean? Let him go through weight
Okay.
training. Let him earn his way up. You know, like the
Mhm.
the like Siakam did. You know, he was in the G League for a full year or two
He
before.
wasn't a number one pick though.
I no, I get it, I get it. But if you believe in the guy, as opposed to, or if you don't believe in the other guys, you know what I mean. Like, you may
Hmm.
believe in weighing things out. You know what I mean. It might have to be explained, like, and Leon don't do that
Hmm.
well. But I'm
Yeah, I mean the
I'm just saying
optics of
I'm
taking
open
your
to
number one
things.
pick and putting him in the G League. I think that if they take Chet number one, they got to start. You got to play him. He has to be in the
I
rotation.
know you've said it before. Most people agree with that. I know I'm kind of
So you
crazy
don't? Do you
in my
think
thought.
he's ready that he could command some minutes in the NBA, or you feel like not really? He should go to the G League.
I'm not opposed to him playing in the G League. Like,
Mhm.
if he's not getting the full reps, meaning, yes, if he's not ready, there's a chance a lot of people aren't ready. You know what I mean? Like, I Chet probably has the biggest chance of not being ready immediately, because 195 at 7 feet. Like, you see the dude on OKC, the 7 footer who's super slim or whatever. He
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
his
yeah.
he gets his chance, right? But I don't think Chet has that type of mobility to do it. And I don't know. I don't know.
That's a tough one
You know what
because
I mean?
think about.
Like,
Oh, mhm.
let me ask you this: if that dude from OKC was on a different team, does he get the same opportunity right now?
He might not, but he wasn't the number one pick in the draft, though.
No, I get it. I get it. But sometimes,
I
if
mean, if you're the
sometimes,
number one pick, that's showing that you have some skills. I mean, just think about Obi in his first year. He got the 10 minutes he got.
hmm
There
but
was games where we felt like he shouldn't be on the court at all, but they nursed him along until he got better. I think you can do something similar.
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But I'm also saying,
Mhm.
get reps in the G League. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So if he happens to play more in the G League like Deuce did, you know what I mean? Again, I know, not a number one pick, but if he
Mhm.
happens to get more reps in the G League than he does in the big league, but he gets better, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying don't play him at all. I'm definitely not
Mhm.
saying that. Give him his 5 minutes a game, or whatever it is, and if he earns it, give him more.
Listen, if you can't play 10 minutes in an NBA game, I don't think you going first. I just feel like that. If we got to send you down to, we're going to draft you number one and send you to the G League. I mean, I don't know. I
So
just feel
so
like
so so
there's
let me
other
let me
players a
say
little
this.
more ready than that.
And I agree. I think Chet has that possibility only because of the weight, and I don't think the other two have that possibility. I think at the very least, even if they're not starting, they're gonna get minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
and they're ready like that. But so let's say hypothetically, Randall reverts back to a year ago. Obi takes a step up from his last 10 games. So I'm saying a little better than
Wow.
his last 10 games, right? And then you happen to draft this kid.
Which one? Chet?
Yeah,
Chet.
you
Okay.
you can't force the minutes, right? Like that's what I'm saying. In that type of scenario, like if the guys in front of you are better, like what Obi went through, like where Deuce kind of went through, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then you have a reason to not force them to play. You know what I mean? Give them their spot minutes, let them develop organically. I'm not pushing for that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm just
Okay.
saying
I hear
that
you.
that's a scenario where it can happen. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's the right scenario. This year didn't turn out to be the right scenario, so I get everybody's frustration. But they probably would have still been mad if we were winning. Moving on, Jalen Ivey, um, 20-year-old sophomore, 6'4", 200 pounds. Another safe guy. Player comps from Victor Oladipo, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Morant. Strong guard, nice first step, fast, athletic shot maker. Question marks in decision making, facilitating, and can he be a lead guard in the NBA? I do like him. If I could move back, if we get number one, and I could move back and secure him, or make a pick and make the trade later, and pick up an asset, I definitely wouldn't mind doing that. Um, that's something I also want to talk about. Moving down, are you sold on Jabari enough that you wouldn't move down
I
for
wouldn't move
some?
down
You wouldn't
because
move
the
down
Knicks
for
are
him.
not the Knicks aren't. I mean, another asset is always good, but the Knicks have so many assets as it is to get any player they want, in terms of trade capital. So I wouldn't if I got the top one first pick. Now, would I
So,
trade that for a star? Yes, I
oh,
would.
okay. What if it's the second pick and Jabari went?
I'm
You
taking one of
going
those
you going
top
you
four
going
guys.
you going Paolo?
At two, I'm going Ivy. If
Oh,
Smith is off the board,
oh.
I'm going Ivy, and I don't see him as a point guard. I
So
see him as an off guard.
you're not even taking the chance. You're not even taking the chance of Ivy being available at 4.
Well, for me, no.
That's
But
what.
I get what you're saying. If you were able to, if you had the second pick and you traded down to four, you knew three of those players are going to be there, and you're going to get one of them.
Yeah.
If you like all three, then that's good. But if
So
you're the Knicks, you don't really. What do you need the asset for? Pick the player you like instead of taking a chance.
what if you're not sure
Well,
about the
that's
3?
different. That's different. If you like all three of them equally, then put
So
then
because that's how I'm asking you. You know what I mean? Like you like your order is Smith and then Ivy is your number
right.
2. Okay. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Who's your number 3?
that's a tough one. That's a tough
So
one.
we get the third pick. Ivy's gone 2. Somehow,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And Smith has gone 1, or vice versa. Because at that point, it don't matter.
I probably go Ben Carroll, probably, but I would have to think
Mm.
about it a little more. But I might go with him over Chet. I mean, Chet is about betting on the upside, which is huge. He has some skill now, but I don't know how much he's going to be able to use it given his frame.
So
But his upside is huge.
so you only have a top 4, right? You
So far, that's all
nothing.
I've looked at.
Okay, no, because
Yeah,
I got 5 up here, and I got I got honorable mention. So Ivy's your two, Smith's your one, Ivy's
Banchero,
your two,
Chet.
Banchero, Chet.
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. That's interesting. I think Banchero's my four, no matter what.
Wow. You
So
you you would
like
take
if I got
Ivy over him?
the fourth pick,
Wow.
yeah, I think I take Ivy over him. 200 pounds, 6'4".
Not even 200. Ivy weighs more than him.
That's what I'm saying. Ivy, 6'4", 200
Oh,
pounds.
I thought you said Chet was 200. I was like, not even.
No, yeah. I'm iffy on Chet. Chet, like sometimes I think Smith is my number one as well, just
Yeah.
because I think he's safe and he's a defender. So you can find a role for him
Yeah.
regardless of what.
Yeah. I don't
Um,
see Ivy as a point guard though. I see him as an off guard. I mean, he has to get better. You know, with the 3 point, his 3 point shot. I don't see him as a lead guard because for me at the lead guard position, I need decision making.
mm,
And
no,
that's
no,
going to take him
I
some years
sometimes,
to
yeah.
grow into that. I see him as an off guard.
So my question is again, he's the number two. He's your number two pick. He has to start. You think he's ready? He's better than
He doesn't. I don't think he has to start.
okay.
I don't think he has
Only
to.
the number one, or you know what I mean? Like
No. But be in the rotation.
okay,
Be in the rotation to get 10 minutes. Even like I said, even for Chet, you
okay,
know, even if he gets 10 minutes a game, he doesn't. No, he doesn't have to start. You
all
earned it.
right.
If
That's
you,
that's fair. That's
yeah,
fair. I'm glad we on the same page.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
can't,
yeah. No,
you
no,
know, because
you
some
got
people
him.
like no. I'm sorry, I grouped you with those people that say number one pick. You got to start. Like they don't even care
No, but I
who's
think he should
who's
be.
on
I
your
think he
team.
should be in the rotation
Okay,
though.
okay, like yeah, minimum of 10 minutes or
Minimum
so.
10 minutes,
So
depending on how.
no, I mean,
Listen,
yeah, you could get more if you earn it. Obviously, you
listen.
got to beat people out.
I wonder with Obi and his freshman year, how much of that was Tibbs, how much of that was the front office, because they really played him above Knox, even though I didn't think he deserved it at the time.
Hmm.
But they milked him along, stayed with him, stayed with him, and he got better and contributed some in the playoffs. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
so so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think if we draft Chet, we draft Ivy, if they're not ready to start right now, don't start them just because they're the number one pick, but keep them in the rotation. Let them earn the little minutes. Don't give them 30 if they don't deserve it. Give them 10 and have them work their way up.
All
I
right.
know a lot of fans would disagree with that, but
No, nah, I agree 100%. Like you can't give anything to anybody. I don't care what pick you are. Like you
hmm
still got to beat out guys on the team.
hmm
Like first pick or like if you the last pick or you undrafted and you beat out the highest paid player who happens to play the same position, do you think you shouldn't start that guy or you shouldn't play that guy because he was undrafted?
say that again. I'm sorry.
If you pick up an undrafted guy and he earns a starting spot, should you not start him because the starter at that position makes 20 million or the starter at that position was your first round pick? You-
That
you-
those are organizational decisions. Those are definitely organizational decisions. Some will say the best player wins plays regardless of salary, and there's some that said, listen, this is an investment, and we have to play this guy. So
D school, that's your guy. He says if the Knicks are planning to move Randall, they have to draft Keegan Murray.
I haven't
And
done any research on
and that's
Keegan
what I
Murray.
was just
I
about
will
to
do
say.
that.
Queen, I was gonna say we got homework because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
I got a lot of homework. The first draft show is next week on the Queen's
that
Court.
that's
I got a
right.
lot of work.
And depending on what goes on with that, I'm still gonna talk about these guys. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think next week.
Oh, I'm
Um.
familiar with him.
Okay.
I'm familiar
Okay.
with Keegan. I mean, I don't know if he's a Randall. Really a Randall comp for Keegan Murray?
No, it says Randall. No,
Oh,
Al
he was saying
Horford,
if we
TJ
move on
Warren.
from Randall.
Yeah, if we
Oh,
move
okay,
on from him.
okay, I got you. Okay, got you.
And I wanted to bring this up
Will do, C Mac.
about Ivy, but and I think the same thing can be said about Murray from my little bit of research, because I'm looking at here. I put a late bloomer who was unranked in high school, questions about his ceiling, but both of these guys didn't have nearly the type of freshman year as sophomore year, right? So some people look at that as a question mark, others look at that as growth. So what are your stance on that when it comes to this guy Murray and Ivy? Because these guys weren't who they are today. Their freshman years made huge leaps. So is it are you sold on it, or are you just really just focusing on what you've watched from this year and don't even know about any of that?
I mean, I like if somebody takes a big leap, I like to think that there's more coming.
This kid went. I think he went from 7 to 21, like tripled his scoring average from
Right,
freshman year.
right. Yeah. But if I remember correctly, he's a high floor but not a very high ceiling type of guy. Is that correct?
Well, that's what they're saying, but the reason is because like I said, he wasn't ranked in high school, so they weren't really up on, what I mean, like either they undervalued him in high school or
Right,
he was a late bloomer, and then like I said, last year underwhelming. 7 points, like he wasn't, like
right,
they would have expected him to be a 4 year guy
right,
and kind of maybe undrafted guy. So this year it came out of nowhere. The same can be said somewhat about Jalen Ivey. So that
right,
so again, it's two perspectives. Some people
right,
look at it as growth. Look at the leap they took.
right.
Some people look at it as a fluke year, or like unproven. Like, we all right, it's one good year, one bad year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in order to have a good year, I would think, I mean, you would have to like delve into it. Are they having a good year just in terms of efficiency, or are they having a better year because their skill has gotten better? Because
Uh,
so if Keegan is doing the same thing he was doing his freshman year, but just that it's going in more, that means his efficiency is getting better. His game may not have developed in terms of doing more things, but the efficiency is there. Um, yeah,
he
I'm.
he
Mhm.
has the lowest kind of like player comp range that I found. You know what I mean? Like, it's arguably, you can argue about who's the best guy of the player comps. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, who,
right,
you know what I mean? None of them really is not is a superstar, or maybe even a
right,
star. You,
right.
you know what I mean? But very solid, guys at
I
their
mean, if
peak.
he could become Siakam, I think is on his way.
True.
Um,
I think
but
I think
he's not a very athletic guy either, Murray. He's like
yeah.
Jamal Wilkes, like like silky smooth type you guys. Somebody mentioned in the chat, but I don't know. I mean, those type of guys have had success in this league as well. In this league as
I,
well.
I'm gonna do more research on them. Um, I mean, so out of those three guys, the player comps, you would, like, if we had a chance to, let me rephrase that. These three guys at their peak, and when I say peak, I would guess that means Siakam now, because he may not have reached his peak, so we can't
Hmm.
project it. Um, you would pick Siakam, or
I
because
like Al
I like Al
Horford too, and
Horford.
I like
Okay.
T.J. Warren when he was playing well before the injuries as well. Any one of
Any one of them, right? So it's like solid, but You know what I mean? Like like Al Horford was an all-star. Warren had one of the best, granted, I think that was the bubble, but best
Hmm.
off seasons ever. And then Siakam's still growing. So yeah, I wouldn't mind any of those guys. I'm gonna do more research on them. Uh, and then I got an honorable mention: Shaedon Sharp from Kentucky, who none of us have seen,
Yeah, I'm
but
not familiar with him at all.
just from
Mhm.
the measurements and the I rarely ever do this, but the high school class where he ranked in the high school class, I don't know why he didn't get to play at all this year, but I do know he wasn't even supposed to be a freshman this year. He reclassified, um, and the initial plan was for him to kind of practice with the team and come back and redshirt and kind of come back next year. But
That's still on the table though, right? He didn't. Did he sign an agent?
no, it is still on the table, but he declared. So he's testing the waters right now. 18-year-old, another young guy, obviously. 200 pounds, 6'6". We talking about NBA ready from which should be out of high school, you know what I mean? But reclassified and got to practice and scrimmage with the Duke team. Um, Player comps: Brandon Roy, Bradley Beal, Jalen Green. Now, if he could become one of those first two guys, and what I always questioned about him is, like, can he run the point? You know what I mean? Because that would be my goal in bringing him in. I don't think we need another shooting guard at this particular point. I think we are steady with Grimes, with with I think with Cam right now, even with before the growth, I think he could at the very least be a backup two guard. You know what I mean? And we have Fournier at the starting position as well. So,
Can I
um,
say something though?
absolutely.
I don't think we can look at any guy on our team and not bring in somebody else.
As a
I
rookie, as a
even as a rookie, if there's a guy in this class that has a high upside that you really believe in as an organization, I'm not gonna not draft him because we got Grimes. I'm not gonna not draft him because we got Cam Reddish, because we don't know how those guys are gonna work out either. They haven't reached their ceilings either. So you could be passing on a guy for a Grimes or a Cam, and you don't really know who they are as well because they haven't reached their ceiling. So I think you throw it all in the pot
I
and
I
see who comes
I
out.
I agree, but it depends on the guy. Like Ivy, I would still grab. I would hope he could be develop into a point guard as well, but I still would grab him and play him at the two, regardless of Grimes, because number one, I think he has advantages that that over our two guards. But some other guys, I don't know if they're gonna come in and be better than a Quickly, better than
We
a
don't.
Grimes,
That's the
better than
point. We don't know. So how you
well, I
gonna
don't.
just go ahead?
If you don't think they are, then if you don't think they're better than somebody on the team right
Then
now,
why
then
then don't
then
even
don't
don't even right
then don't
right
draft them. That's
right
that's what I'm
right
saying.
right.
That's what I'm saying. I would never pass up on somebody that I believe is better than somebody on my team because I have too many. You know what I mean. But I don't know if any of these guys, other than maybe Ivy, and that's only because of the reason I would still get Ivy is because he's 200 pounds already. You know what I mean? Like out of college. Granted, he's a sophomore, but he's NBA built. You know what I mean? So to me,
So is
that
Shaden
gives him,
Sharp.
yeah, exactly my point in why I would get this guy at 18 years old, 200-pound NBA ready. That you know what I mean? Like, and again, I wouldn't push it as far as he's a perfect guy that I would get, and whatever um playing time he earns, he earns. I'm not forcing him to start. I'm not worried about him
Mhm.
starting. I'm not worried about like he's gonna have to fight through Grimes. He's gonna have to fight through. You know what I mean? But I'm not. I'm not pushing it for. You know what I mean? He got
Right.
to earn it.
Yeah.
So we're on the same page. I'm not. I would never pass up somebody that I
But
feel is better than somebody on my team
but the
because
thing about it, we don't know. So basically, you can't even. I mean, I think what the front office would have to say is, I like this guy's ceiling. It's in line with some of the guys that we have on this team. Let's bring him in because there's no way you can look at this draft and know with certainty that this guy
who's
is never going to be better than Grimes. It's
who's
just
who's Jalen Green? Who is
from
that?
Houston, the rookie on Houston.
Oh, so he's a point guard, right?
I think Jalen Green is
Or he's a
off.
two.
Yeah, he's a two.
That's where the questions come in. But I value I value these 6'6" playmakers. You know what I mean? Or 6'6". Like when I look at the player comps, Bradley Beal can play point in the pinch. Brandon Roy had his most success at the point guard. You know what I mean? When they moved him off out of the two guard and put the ball in his hands and let him make the decisions rather than wait for somebody to feed him. Um so if that's what I mean, a 6'6" potential point guard, it gives him a bigger advantage than a quickly, um, especially at 18, right? Um, a better advantage than a Grimes who I wish could work on his ball handling and be able to play some point in the pinch or when need be, or just even improve your ball handling enough to create your own shot and be more effective whenever you have the ball rather than in these pockets and in these spots. This guy can create his own shot. That's not a question. The question is, can he develop into a point guard?
But why?
But
But why do I get it with that you think players a shooting guard could be more valuable playing a point guard, and I get that, and that's true for any shooting guard. If they can play, anybody who could play two positions is more valuable than anybody who can play one. But when I see a shooting guard, I it doesn't even come across my mind. Can this guy play point? I want to know, can you play your position? Can you shoot in your position? Can you create in your position? Can you defend your position? If you never develop into a point guard,
I,
so
I
what?
no, I agree. But some guys, I see the potential of what they could be. Here's the thing: like Iverson, I would never consider him a point guard. He
Right,
was a two guard, no matter
right,
what. I don't care if you put him at the one; he's a two guard. So
right.
I get what you're saying, but there's guys like a Bradley Bill, like a Brandon Roy, like certain guys. One, I think they would be more valuable if they developed into a lead guard as opposed to a two guard. Maybe that's because of some of their physical limitations, how big they are, how tall they are. So if they could augment their game, and I got to see it in them. I'm not trying to force a square into a round circle. Never.
But
It's
let me
something
ask you
that I
this.
see in them,
Let me
an
ask you this
ability.
though. When Bill played point guard and Brandon Roy played point guard, see, to me, there's a difference between
The
somebody
two
just
of them
put.
for sure.
Well, no, that's true, that too. But there's a difference between you putting somebody at the point guard spot and they're better because they have the ball in their hands all the time and they can shoot
Hmm.
whenever they want to and decide when they want to pass to other people. I just don't think that makes you a point guard. So they've played Bradley Bill at the point guard. Did the team run better? Was he a better playmaker? Did he set his teammates up, or did he play better because he had the ball in his hand
I
and he
think it
could
was
shoot whenever he wanted
I
to?
think I
you
think
know?
I think it was both though. I think some guys you put the ball in their hand because one, they need the ball in their hand to be effective, but
Right,
the only thing they're effective at is scoring.
right.
That you know what I mean? That's the difference. Other guys, you put the ball in their hands and you realize, oh, he could run the offense. He's gonna make the right decision. He's not gonna force a shot. He's not gonna say, oh, like he's not gonna feel privileged because the ball's in his hand. he's gonna make the right reads. That's why I like a Beal as opposed to, I want to say as opposed to, but Beal is a guy that I believe has played point guard enough, like a full season of it, to know that he can do it for another full season if he needed to. Not pigeonholing him there, but even on a better team, I think that's a great advantage to have. You know what I mean? Because now
Is
you
he at
could.
his best at the shooting guard, where he doesn't have to worry about point guard duties and distributing, or is he best at at the point guard?
It depends on who your point guard is. Like that, and that's what I mean. He may be best at the point guard because we have an adequate enough two guard. We might not have an adequate enough point guard to where now he's playing two guard, but still has to be the facilitator or the decision maker. Like you got to, you know what I mean? Because your point guard can't do it. Like, and that's what I mean. If he's better at the point guard than your point guard, he's your point guard.
It depends, though.
And I think
I get what
he's
I
better
mean, you
at
got.
that position than a lot of starting point guards.
I understand that, but if I'm building a team, I'm not playing. To me, putting Bradley Beal at the point guard is a waste. I need you to just score the ball. I just need you. We're gonna have somebody else take care of all of that responsibility, setting up. All you need to do is get to your spots. We're gonna get you the ball. And if he is the best point guard on the roster, then the front office has work to do.
Put it like this: let's say you had a team with 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 Bradley Beal and Dwayne Wade, right? Obviously, prime Dwayne Wade or whatever the case. Are you sitting one of those guys because you don't
But
want one
Tony,
of
that's
those
a
guys?
different situation.
But
That's two.
that's the way I'm looking at it. I'm not saying pigeonhole him there or put him there. One, put him there if he's the best guy for the job. I like Tibbs, but I'm not saying that about Burks. But if he's the best guy you have for the job, you put him there. But if you have another guy who is just as good at the two position, I'm not gonna bench one of them. If one of them could play the one, I'm playing them both. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Tony, that's common sense.
That's all I'm saying though.
But I mean, that's
And,
common sense. If you got two guys like that and you want to play ball with shit, you could play those guys at the 2 and the 3. They be undersized. They could still work, and you could still bring in a point guard. I mean, those are high
but that
level
but what
players.
I'm saying is you might not be able to play those two guys at the 2 and the 3, or you may be able to, but they may be a better advantage at the 1 and the 2. So I agree with you. If they're better advantage at the 2 and the 3, then I move them up. Or if you have a point guard who is best, like better at that position than Bill, then yeah, move them up. Put those two at the 2 and the 3 because I have an adequate point guard. But if I don't, you know what I mean? You slide them down. That's the
I
way
hear
I'm
what you're
looking at it.
saying, but I mean, in terms of Shaedon Sharp, he doesn't ever have to play point guard ever. Like I don't even like when I'm looking at these shooting guards. Like even when I look at Grimes, I don't even think, oh, he could one day be a point guard. I'm looking at him like I need you to perfect your shooting guard position. You know,
But what if he is a point guard? That's the thing. We don't know. He was a point guard in high school.
and they changed his position for a reason.
No, they didn't change it. He didn't play. So like that's the question.
In Houston, though, he didn't play point.
In Houston,
University of Houston.
he was on Kentucky,
Grimes.
no, I'm talking about Shaedon Sharp.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm talking about Grimes.
Oh, you
Um,
said Shaedon Sharp doesn't have to play point guard. I
no,
mean,
Shaedon Sharp doesn't have to play point guard, and then I mentioned Grimes. Even him, he doesn't have to play point guard. I just
again,
need you to perfect your position.
I agree with that too. He could be a solid, adequate starter or whatever, like NBA player without playing the point. I'm not saying he has to, but if he develops it or like it's not even necessarily developing to me, it's developing his game. So if it turns out that he works on his game enough that he's best suited there, or he becomes more of an asset there. I'm not opposed to that either. I'm not going to pigeonhole him at the two, and I'm also not going to say he has to become a one. But if he does, it always helps every time. You know what I mean? Like it's some guys I wouldn't want
I hear
there.
you.
Like RJ, I wouldn't want him to become a one, even if his facilitating becomes the best on the team, because his overall strength is scoring. You know what I mean? Is getting to the basket. So I would want him to do that, and that's I think a lot of people's argument with Randle. He's staring away from what he's best at, and and trying to do everything else, facilitate, mid range, 3 point. Like you just forgot the basket exists. Like down low, he forgot all about that.
Randall is not good in finishing at the basket. His strength, if he wants to return to form, he got to get that mid
That
range
mid
up.
that mid range is what elevated
That's
him,
his
but
game. Yeah.
his bread and butter was in the paint, like throughout his career, like or even coming into the NBA. He gets blocked a lot, and I think that discourages him more than anything. But up and under, he had a lot of moves down low that you just now he does one thing: the pump fake, and wait. He used to do a lot of things under the basket that he doesn't do anymore.
But
I,
I
I,
don't know if he was ever proficient though
I
at it.
mean, the numbers the numbers say he wasn't, so I'm not gonna argue that he was. But
You
I
know?
went back and looked at his, you know what I mean, his
Yeah.
his draft stuff coming coming into the
Coming
league.
out. And even in the NBA, I mean, that's the thing. I think he shot even this past season, he shot 60% from the field. But in terms of his what do you call it? How he compares to other players in the league, that was really low. Other players at his position, that was pretty low. So we want him to get back to something. What's going on with my? We want him to get back to something that he's not that good at, finishing at the rim.
I think he can be, and I think see I think the problem is I think the reason he went away from it is not because of him getting blocked per se. I think it's more because of him not wanting to go to the line. I think that's what the problem is. And even if you say he was he wasn't efficient, it was a threat. It was a threat because he got he gets fouled a lot down there,
Hmm.
especially when he's trying to score through contact instead of avoid contact, and that's what he was good at. So he may not have been efficient from the numbers, but he used like that's part of him getting to the line, and he was literally scared to go to the line at times this year, and that was like one of the times where I was at my lowest point for him. Like damn, like he might not be built for here because you can't be. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's what killed Ben. That's what killed Ben Simmons in Philly. Scared to go to the line, so I'm not even gonna attempt the shot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. This was a good show. I got a couple more questions and we get out of here. Um, I mean, you kind of answered it already. So you wouldn't trade down. All right, let me ask you this: Do you
I
trust the
would.
organization? Do you
I
trust
would
the
try.
organization enough that, let's say they do make a move to trade down, but you like the guy that they could have grabbed? Do you trust their judgment as far as the guy they liked moving down for, or you trust like your own judgment from like your research and things of
No,
that
I
nature?
mean, I would
Like,
definitely trust the. I mean, I mean, how can you argue with them? I mean, they're the professionals, and they not only that, they have the bigger plan. So I'm
and the track
thinking,
record.
yeah, I'm thinking of. But listen, doesn't mean they might not make a mistake. I mean, we passed on, I forget, Johnson, who went to Atlanta. He may turn into
Mhm.
a star. So doesn't mean, I mean, they're making these decisions with the bigger picture in mind about maybe we could take this draft pick that we get, package it with this, get this other player. But front offices make mistakes all the time and pass over guys who become stars. So
Mhm. But
um
that's what I'm saying. You okay with that?
yeah,
The
if they decide,
possibility of making a mistake, like to make
I
a
mean, it
move,
depends on who they go. Like if they
because
trade,
I
if
want
they,
them to take a risk,
but what,
a
but you,
calculated risk.
but the top four people, that is a calculated risk. I mean, they're not sure, they're not surefire. You're going to trade down for it, and you're going to pick up somebody at number 11 just to get a second round draft pick or whatever you're going to get. Like, mm-mm.
Nah, when I want a first round pick, a future first, or and a swap. That's what I'm talking about. If I'm doing something like that, and the only the reason I'm doing that, one, I gotta like the guy that is available. I'm not just taking anybody to do the trade to like. It's not about the pick. The pick is the plus. You know what I mean? It's about the player that I'm getting at whatever pick I'm moving down to. I have to like that guy. I'm
Mhm.
not settling for the guy that I end up getting because I value the pick that much. The pick is only valuable in a future move. You know what I mean? Like somebody might want four first round picks for whomever, Donovan Mitchell. And we're like, oh man, we don't want to give up four. So let's acquire the fourth one. You know what I mean? And if that's how you acquire it, maybe they want it in a specific year. So you know what I mean? They want next year.
I mean, I think to do something like that, that those moving parts have to be in play already
Mm-hmm.
during the draft, you know. Um, but yeah,
Or, I mean,
I mean,
yeah, and you might know what they want. You know what I mean? Like you might
mhm,
offer this year's pick, and they like, no, we want two picks next year, and you like, oh man, they want both our picks next year. All right,
mhm.
so now let's see if we could trade down, do a swap pick, acquire another pick, so now we can make this trade, and still have a pick next year. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so you might take the lesser player this year, but it might be to help you acquire a bigger fish, somebody better than both the guys. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but yeah, I get you, but I'm only doing that if I know that player is on the table during the draft. I mean, we just collecting, 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 and we're not and not do. So we got another draft pick, you know. So no, I'm not giving up on Banchero, Chet, Ivy, none of those guys to get another first round pick to go in a potential trade for another year for a potential other player when we have a lot of assets already. We got enough young players. We got enough draft capital. We got enough.
I'm not doing it blindly.
Right. Now
I'm
that's
not
different.
yeah.
That's
I'm
different.
not doing it to add to the collection. I'm doing it because I know I need it to. You know what I mean? Like, or it's gonna help me. You know what I mean? So I feel you. Like I'm not doing the
Yeah. If there's something on the
OKC thing,
table during the draft.
or I'm not sold on the guy available. You know what I mean? And there's two guys that I don't necessarily want to reach for. You, you know what I mean? So I'm like, if there's two guys available, mathematically, this one of these two guys will be available down here,
Mhm.
and I like both of them. I'll do it. And I'm not sold on who is available. I'll do it because it like, to me, that you always gotta take that observation, or look at things that way, or you're not doing your job. Do you think fit? So you don't worry about fit either. In,
No.
in
If
so
there if
because
there's
you would look at fit in free agency, right? or you would look at fit in a trade.
But free agency, you're expressly going out for a player. It's not who's in your range to draft. You know what I mean? You're expressly going for the player you want. In a draft, you may the players that fall to you at the position that you're drafting may be very good players, but not at a position of need. So you're gonna reach and get a player that's not ranked as high just because they fit. I
No,
wouldn't
but
do that.
that would be the opportunity to trade back, acquire an asset, get a guy that fits, and you have an asset. Like that's another reason to do it, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's numerous. There's a lot of different ways of why you would move back. So like the guy might be a better player, but he
Mhm.
might not be the right fit. You might see two guys that are the right fit down low. So now I'm gonna. So that's what I'm saying. I'm never moving back because of the asset, like the draft compensation. It's always about the player. Whether it's I feel this guy's better overall. I feel this guy's a better fit. I have to like that player to do the trade, and I can justify it even if this guy has a better trajectory or might be the better player right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but you're also running the risk that the second that player you draft that you like doesn't turn out to be anything, and the first round draft pick you got doesn't turn out to be anything. That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying. If
it's
you
always a
really
risk.
like but that's always the risk. But if you really like a player, I'm not passing up on that um for a player that I like as well, but I like less because I'm going to get a first round draft pick. I'm just not doing it.
But
Like I like both
you leaving
players.
out the fit though. What if that better player you don't know? Like you might have to rearrange a lot because of this one player, as opposed to
I
just
hear you.
putting this player right in.
I hear you.
You rather do the full rearrangement because this
If
guy's
that
that good.
player, if I feel that player is better, yes, I will.
Mm.
Think about what Detroit did when they passed on Melo because they already had Tayshaun Prince. I mean, come on, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that was stupid.
Yeah, because they already had Tayshaun Prince.
Yeah, and they could have
Y-
had rings for
a-
multi
And
years.
you have both of them and they work it out. Maybe you do a platoon, maybe you do whatever, then you see what you have. Maybe you flip Tayshaun Prince, who had value in the league, for somebody else to open up space for Carmelo.
Yeah, and it's not like I could really name like a guy that was brought in and the fit was so bad it ruined the franchise. Like as a draft pick,
I mean, the
nah.
worst case scenario is finding minutes that you have a draft pick that's playing the same position as somebody you already have. Where do you find minutes for them?
So and that's a scenario too. How do you like? So does that doesn't factor in the minutes?
Yeah, that's true. It depends on like what's the difference between those two players. If it's a slight difference, then yeah, take the draft pick. Trade down, get the draft pick. Right? That's what Boston and Philly did as well. Philly got that number one pick, but Boston liked Tatum anyway. But they said, why take him at the top when I could maybe get him, at three?
And that's like
And
to
it
me
worked out.
that's the savvy move. I get it's a risk. Same with Trey Young, right? And Luca, like
But
you
they
could,
had two play because they wasn't sure Tatum would be there because he could have been taken at number two.
yeah, I
So I
know it's the
believe they had
risk.
two players they were looking
But
at.
that's what I'm saying. It's a calculated risk. That's what I'm saying. When you do the math, you you know you got three. There's two picks left. You got three guys that you interested in. You may like one of the three more than the other, but you know what I mean. Like like that's what I mean. It's a calculated risk. You already don't see a fit for this guy. He might be a great player, but he's not going to be a great player here.
I don't
You,
even think with them. See, I wouldn't do it for fit. I guess you could do it for fit. They didn't. I mean, I guess they felt like,
it's always
was
fit.
it that they didn't need a point guard or they just liked Tatum and the other guy better?
It's always the player. It's always it's when I when I say fit, I mean like this guy is not better than the two guys that we have at this position right now.
Okay.
So, like he may end up being great, but right now he's not better than the two guys we have. We have a hole right here. you,
Right.
know what I mean? That's when I say fit. You know what I mean? It's not about this guy's better than these two guys, but we have these two guys, so I'm not going to get him.
Okay.
I'm never doing that.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
But now, good show, Queen. It's always
Yeah.
great. I don't know what happened to my guy Jan. I'll catch him next week. Appreciate the chat for joining in. As always, Yo Black is time. Catch you next week. Queen, when you going tomorrow or
No, no,
Sunday?
no. Monday, Queens Court, we'll start breaking down the draft. Tuesday, 9 o'clock on Dope Soul Sports Talk. We do the Just Nicking It series, and we'll be breaking down the second part of what the Nick players need to do to work on their game this summer to take it to a next level. We're gonna do Randall. We're gonna do. I know people like. I know people tired of Randall, but he's still on the team. We're gonna do Obi. We're gonna do IQ, Sims. Not Sims. McBride, and there's one other player that's escaping my memory. That was a good conversation. And then back next Wednesday for the crossover and your show, whether it's on Monday and Wednesday, I'm not, or Wednesday, I'm not sure.
Uh, if everything goes great, it'll be both. But tune in. Stay
Right,
tuned.
right, right, right.
I'll probably definitely be on Monday. I got a busy Tuesday, so I'll get it in Monday for sure.
Okay.
Appreciate you, Queen.
Appreciate
Shout out
you.
to the chat. Um, Yo Black is time.